we move on to our next session, which is the state of cities. And ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure of inviting our moderator for the show, Mr. Bhushan Mohan. He is Senior Fellow Development Foundation and former Principal Consultant with the PwC. He was responsible for formulation of policies, guidelines, and strategy for implementation of NEGP with a vision to bring public services within the reach of every citizen. He has contributed immensely in areas of policy formulation, strategic planning, business development, procurement, and most importantly, technology assessment. We have with us Ms. Renuka B., Commissioner, Tumakuru City Corporation. She's made significant contributions to the urban development while being at Tumakuru. Notable being the implementation of energy efficiency project for streetlights. She believes in involving the private sector in development and have encouraged PPP projects in the city. She's quite tech savvy and has created a centralized control and monitoring system in the city. We're joined by Dr. Sanjay Kolte, who is Chief Executive Officer of Pune Smart City, 2010 batch IS officer, and before Pune he was CEO at the Osmanabad Zilla Parishad. He has served in various capacities as a revenue officer in Maharashtra. During last over 22 years, he has worked extensively with municipal corporations, including Jalgaon, Nashik, Dhule, Mumbai, and Pune. He has been recognized as the outstanding administrative officer for his work. He was also Commissioner MGNREGS Nagpur in 2017. In place of Ms. Sonika, we are joined by Mr. Padam Kumar, who is Chief General Manager Technical at Dehradun Smart City. Mr. Binu Francis, Municipal Commissioner, Thiruvananthapuram. He was earlier Secretary in the corporation and was Program Officer of Kudumbashree State Mission, which implements all the poverty reduction programs through the community-based network in convergence with local self-government. In Kozhikode and Trivandrum, he served as the corporation secretary. Mr. Anshul Gupta, Commissioner, Municipal Corporation Ujjain, an administrative professional with past experience in law enforcement, investment banking, consulting, e-governance, healthcare, and heavy engineering. Proven track record of project execution and policy formulation, supply chain management, and leading very large teams. Earlier, as CEO, Zilla Panchayat Umaria is responsible for planning, execution, and monitoring of development schemes for population of invite our moderator, Mr. Bhushan Mohan, to run with the proceedings of the panel discussion. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gosharan. It's a pleasure to moderate this session. I have been hearing right now when the order of merit was being announced, and in the morning also, there have been so many accomplishments which have happened. It really is very heartwarming with the type of achievements that we have really achieved over the last few years, especially in the area of the citizen services, the municipality services, and the district services, which have been covered earlier. Municipality and the urban services are extremely important, and the smart city concept, which came in almost about 8-9 years back, really have brought in a new facet to the urban living. We have had now more than 100 cities which are covered. Quite a few of them are operational. However, out of 5,000 plus projects which have been taken under these, almost 40 to 50% are still not completed. They are still on the stage of rollout and implementation. However, one thing is very interesting, that the integrated command control centers had come up initially at many of the places. And during the COVID time, they gave a fantastic and a very good service to the citizens during the time of real emergency or disaster or whatever we had, starting from mid 2020. Now, it has also resulted in delay in implementation of our smart city projects, but I'm sure they are going to now implement with more vigor. Coming to the implementation issues of that, I think today one of the issues we should definitely dwell upon is what are the reasons which have caused these delays, whether it is funding, whether it is stakeholders coordination, because there are multiple stakeholders, or it is the implementation of the reforms and the change management, or is it the technology issues which are difficult, or it's just the project management or the procurement processes. So let us dwell upon it. What have been the key issues in implementation of our smart city projects, and how do we take care of it in the future? Along with it, I think we should also look into, for the future, what are the additional reforms and the process changes that should be brought about for a much higher level and a better governance and the better outcomes. And the third thing, which is very close to me, whenever we take up any project, how do we measure the outcomes? And especially with the baseline and with the future which is there. So that is extremely important. I would really like if the panelists can throw some light on the matrix and the measurement of the outcomes of their projects. We have been hearing a lot from what you have done, especially in Pune. Can you throw some light on the three questions which I had mentioned? I would request if you can keep your answers to not more than 5 minutes so that we have some time for discussions also. We are already running about 15 minutes late.
Yes, thank you, sir. Sir, in the Pune Smart City, the implementation is now almost in the seventh year of the Smart City mission. Pune was the city from the first round of smart cities, and it has been in the forefront in the right from the planning through the implementation phase, and now most of the projects are more than 80% complete in Pune city. Now, so the first point which you mentioned is regarding the delay that has been that is being experienced in the implementation of, in general, being experienced in the implementation of smart city program. At the planning stage is very crucial. The stakeholder consultation and the requirement of the city, the aspirations of the various stakeholders is very important, and this was the first step when smart city plans were formulated in these smart cities. And if that has been done properly after due stakeholder consultation and taking into consideration the needs of the city, its merits, demerits, and the SWOT analysis of the situation in the city, then the initial take-up of the project or the rollout did not face any difficulties. However, in some cases, decisions had to be taken whether to go ahead between the urban local body, ULB, and the smart city SPB, which one to take up which activity. So some time or some thought process had to taken place in some of the cities. And since these being the bodies which are represented by public representatives, again, so those the proper forums have to be addressed, or proper forums have to take this decision in terms of the benefits of the. So that is one thing. Secondly, in sometimes the tendering process or the award of the project, the process may take time because of the lack of expected response from the industry or from the say agencies which are expected to come forward for implementation of such projects, especially the smaller cities where this reason may be one of the reasons for experiencing the delay in rollout of the projects. In case of Pune, one example I would quote of a delay, that is in case of redesign projects which Pune City Smart City had taken up in the ABD area, where some of there were three kinds of projects. There were greenfield projects, there were retrofitting projects, and some were redevelopment projects were taken up, especially in the greenfield projects when the new land is to be taken and possession is to be taken up by the ULB and to be transferred to the smart city for implementation purpose. Then the transfer of land or the timely acquisition of the land which is required for creation of any infrastructure project or any asset. So if there is some delay or there is say reluctance on the part of the landowners to give possession or hand over the possession, in such cases even it may go to the extent of giving rise to some civil litigations. And these may be the reasons we ourselves have experienced in Pune, where in some of the segments of the roads of the stretches which we have taken up, we could complete only the part of the stretch, only part of the road width could be taken up in the project and completed because of the hindrances faced by the lack of surrendering of the possession of the land. So this is one of the reasons for the delay, I would say. Once the project is awarded and the work is beginning, then it gets into the smart city mission, and the methodology is such that it's really a single window process at the level of the SPV, and then there is no stoppage for any kind of work. And besides the major decision after being taken by the board of the SPV, then chief executive officer and his team and various technical heads from the ULB, they go hand in hand, they work hand in hand to carry out implement the projects. And so the further measures are taken timely. And on the funding sector again, this being a project convergence of this government of India, state and urban local body, 50% from the center, 25% each from the state and ULB. So the funding is timely, funding is also available. So there is no problem on the issue of funding as such. And over the period now, almost we are in the 7th year of the smart city mission implementation. The procedures have been streamlined to a great extent, both from the government of India, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and the state government, and the smart city SPBs also. And most of the procedures have been streamlined, and there are no now there is no problem or there is no hindrance of any kind in implementation of the smart city projects in Pune. So far as Pune City Smart City Plan is concerned, we are hopeful of completing all the 100% of the projects by 31st March of 2023. And majority of our projects are completed at the end of December 2022 itself. So I am happy to share the status on the behalf of Pune City.
Good. I think you have done in a very, very comprehensive way. You have brought up all the shortcomings and the strengths of the present implementation model. Thank you very much. Would you like to add something on the outcome measurement and the metrics? Because if you really see, there are three key areas of outcome which have to be measured. One is the standard of livability, the standard of economic livability, it's a new word which has been coined by smart cities, and the third, which is slightly much more, that is the sustainability in the way the projects are taken, and also for the project itself over a long-term basis as to how this is sustainable. So how do you measure these outcomes?
Yes, sir. So Smart City Mission and Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs have been right from the inception have been working on this aspect of the monitoring of the smart city mission works, and they have come out with frameworks like GMIS. It's a geographic management information system that is a monitoring framework for monitoring the progress of these 100 smart cities. And in the last year 2021 again, outcome and output monitoring framework has also been launched, and OMF it has been taken up by with the help of National Institute of Urban Affairs, has been taken up in a big way, and a lot of stakeholder consultation, workshops, and capacity building has been done and still going on at the regional levels also. And all these two frameworks are the major ones where they monitor the working of smart cities in terms of the fund utilization, the projects, the progress of the projects, right from the launching of the projects, right from preparation of the DPRs, then the award of the tenders, then progress of the work, and financial utilization, physical progress, and ultimately the completion. So all these aspects are taken up in the taken care of in the GMIF. And again, in outcome out and output monitoring framework, more than 400 indicators have been chosen in 14 sectors of urban development, where these indicators are to be mapped by every city, and they have to enter the status of the project, their projects, in relation to these indicators, and so on any real time, all the cities are able to observe the status of their own city. At the same time, they can compare it with the status in other cities, and so cross learning is also possible by way of this OOMF and GMIS kind of frameworks. GMIS framework also allows ranking of the cities in terms of fund utilization, timely utilization of funds, timely completion of projects, timely holding of the mandatory meetings or the consultation with the people's representatives. So all these aspects are given weightage in the ranking, which is conducted through GMIS, and OMF will be again will be useful for peer learning, and also the tier 2 cities which are not been taken up in the smart city mission. Besides these 100 cities, other smaller cities, I think, will also be able to know the various aspects of urban development where they need to focus on in order to implement the features like smart cities in their cities also.
Thank you very much. You have given a very good, very comprehensive brief on this. What I understand, this is more of a program management or program monitoring system, which is an excellent initiative on behalf of what Urban Affairs have really done. I'm sure this would be extremely useful in your day-to-day monitoring. Let me now go next to the Dehradun Smart City. Mr. Padam Kumar, are you there?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I've been hearing a lot about Dehradun as doing something very good in the smart city area. Let us hear from your side on the implementation delays and the problems and the outcomes, or any other process changes which you would like to recommend.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, sir, for the interaction today. I'm happy to say that Dehradun Smart City in general doing well. As of now, we are about 50 to 60% of the progress of the entire projects we have taken. We have taken about 27 projects. Out of that, we have completed 5 projects, and balance projects are in progress as per our schedule, except 2 projects. Which one is a green building, which is held up because of the land acquisition problem, and now that problem is also resolved in recent HPSC meeting held on 10th of August. And one more project which is generally lagging behind is smart roads. For that also we have taken the corrective actions, and hopefully this project will come back to the track. And the important projects which we have completed as of now is DICCC, that is Dehradun Integrated Command and Control Center. This project has been completed successfully this year on 23rd of March, and it is commissioned now under quantum phase. Beside this, another important project we have completed, that is Smart Schools, that has been appreciated at last by the public and the public representative. We have improved 3 schools, basically providing smart boards and e-library, and we have done some infrastructure work also in that, sir. Besides this, we have done a project for water ATMs. 24 water ATM has been established and functioning. Important projects which are in projector is the green building, which is costing about 200 crores, and this is planned to be completed within next 12 months. Except this, we have done a project for Paltan Bazaar, where there is a common, very high profile market. We are developing this market, this road in this market, and facade work is also being undertaken, sir. Hopefully within next 3 to 4 months, this project will get completed. And we have procured 15 buses, that is for the city, and 15 other buses are coming very shortly. The difficulty generally we are facing from the public, basically in public, this Paltan Bazaar area, where road width is very less, and because being congested market area, we don't have the parking space. But with interaction of the public and public leaders, this problem is being resolved. We are generally in way to complete balance of the project, out of which another 30 this schools, smart schools are being taken up, sir. At par with 15 school we have already completed. And the difficulties, another difficulties we faced is regarding some procurement by our vendors and some non-performance some of contractors, for which we already taken up the actions. But slowly all these problems are resolved, sir. And we are to our schedule to complete the projects well in time, sir. That's all about the Dehradun Smart Cities.
Very good, very good. So the projects which are completed, how are you finding the outcomes coming up, and how are you measuring them? Are they meeting the whatever your baseline and initial plans were, or you want to improve upon it? What is the citizens' feedback? What is the stakeholders' feedback?
Sir, DICCC, we got complete public satisfaction when it has been appreciated by the government, state government. Before this, there was no central data collection with us in the state government of Uttarakhand. But now, we having established this DICCC, complete this data storage, traffic control, and surveillance system of the city is being monitored at one place. And this very good public appreciation for this, as well as public awareness. Anywhere, at any place, anything happening, we get the information at real time, and administration and police is activated. So that's is being largely appreciated. Said this, as I mentioned, smart schools we have developed, and this providing facility to the student, and school authorities are very happy on this. They are getting a lot of appreciation on this.
Okay. Do you feel any, see, like Dr. Kolte had brought about a very interesting point, that initially during the planning stage, there was something as to what should be under the ULB and what should be under the smart city, because there is always an overlap of the activities which are done. Now, when you talk about the schools and other things, there is again an overlap what the education department is doing, or what the state department is doing. So how do you manage that?
Sir, when we took over these projects, there were few projects which were under convergence. So already with the ULPs, and they kept on doing their own projects. And the projects, there's a certain projects which were entrusted to us. We started those projects, but integrated with the smart city missions. And all these projects are being coordinated, like the Nagar Nigam they are doing some projects of Swachhta Abhiyan, sir. So we are providing them help, like we are providing the machinery and equipment, and some other projects they are doing directly. Like, similarly, for Nagar Palika solution we have provided, and some other solution they are having at their own. So we all integrated so that public at large get benefited out of all these projects, sir.
Do you have any feedback mechanism from the public as to where they can express where they are happy, where they are not happy, or their satisfaction, or their suggestions for improvement?
Yes, sir. We are having monthly club meeting, city advisory club meetings, sir.
Okay, there is no regular, normally if any citizen wants to give a feedback, something is good or something is not so good, or would like to give a suggestion, how does that taken into account?
We have got a helpline number also, sir.
Okay,
On that, we get public interaction as well as their complaint, grievances, etc. are reported to us, and we react on that, sir.
okay, that's very good.
Sir, another important project which we have undertaken is SCADA project, that is on SCON model. For this project, we are installing the latest equipment on the tube wells. This is basically for energy saving of the water supply to the city. For this project, we have replaced the water meters and another devices we have put in, which is saving energy to the cost of about 4 crores in a year, sir. Yes,
Okay. This is water supply SCADA. Water
yeah,
supply.
SCADA.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
And we are at the level of completing this project. This project was done at the cost of 56.5 crores, out of which 22.5 crore is provided by the smart city, and this project will run for 10 years. So that we will be saving about 40 crores. It will come to the governments.
That's excellent. That's excellent. That's excellent. Okay, let me go to others. I may come back to you later. Yeah, can I go over to Mr. Bino Francis as to how are your projects going on in Thiruvananthapuram? Mr. Bino?
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. This is Adijeevanam. Adijeevanam means the survival of life. Because after this pandemic, there are so many people who lost their livelihood, since many of them are working in the formal sector. This is a COVID pandemic. It's a lockdown, and almost all the states, including all lives, were in standstill, and the informal sector is badly affected, and it adversely affected the livelihood. There is no income at all. So the corporation considered this project to have at least 1,000 people are benefited out of this scheme per year. Now we have achieved around 3,500 in a single year in the first year. Okay. The major hurdles are the selection process. So many beneficiaries are there, but how we can select, how we can prioritize. Normally we are doing a number of projects through Kudumbashree or through our ULB. The selection process on survey or getting application, but the genuine candidates cannot apply or they are not aware of these things. So we deploy our community system like the CDS or NSG. There are community mechanism to identify who are really the beneficiaries. So we have identified around 7,000 beneficiaries who are very interested and who lost their job during this COVID period, and they are also ready to follow the guidelines or what are the regulations introduced by or taken by the corporation or the council. So this is one of the major hurdles, but we achieved. The second hurdle is the sustainability part. In Kerala, we have Kudumbashree. They are doing a wonderful job in alleviating poverty content and empowerment of women by different mechanism. The major mechanism is either self-employment or wage employment. They are providing number of trainings or some kind of subsidy. They started the employment scheme or the jobs maybe salary people, but the retention or the sustainability is on an average of 2.5 years. So sustainability is very important. So how we can ensure once they are starting an enterprise, maybe a micro enterprises or maybe individual or by group, within a couple of months or in a year, there may be some issue or not interested or there is a loss for different reason, it will not move further. Sustainability, how we can. So we have a cell exclusively for the same. One thing, there is a system for monitoring the same. What is the revenue they are earning or the income they are earning? They are reflected in the Google Sheets. If there is any reduction in income or the revenue, then our MC, this is a consultant, people will go there and they are hand-holding the same. How this is happening, how the loss is happening. So we will again intervene and give some kind of training, some kind of incentives, and if there is need any kind of marketing, of course they will provide the same. So for the last 1.5 years, the sustainability part is fine. Still, the total we have around 3,500. Even now, we have 3,222 people are on board now, even still. And regularly, they are getting around 7,000 to 15,000 per month. So we can assure these things. In the second year, our again target is 100,000 plus 1,000 plus 1,000 for a 5 year, 5,000. So we have achieved 3,500. In the next year, that is this year, we have a projection of 7,000. For the time being, we can achieve around 3,000 so far. We are sure we can achieve more than 7,000. So this is the beauty of this scheme that we have.
That's very good. I would like to have some input from you. Would you suggest some more reforms or the change management or the process changes to be adopted so as to get better governance in the areas that you are in right now?
Yes, sir. It needs some kind of reforms. Since after the pandemic is over, again the informal sector is on the higher side. In Trivandrum, a capital city, and almost all government offices are in Trivandrum, we have more than 1.5 lakhs of people working in the government sector or in the semi sector or the public sector undertaking. The informal sector, we have around 60,000 people we have. During pandemic, of course, less than 5,000 people are there, but now it is around 50,000 and more. What the reforms which need is, one thing is, we have 7,000 people in the initial level, but now we have around 20,000 people on the beneficiary list now. So the formal sector we have already covered. Now we have some other sectors like agriculture sectors are there, then certain IT solutions are there, retail sector almost we have covered. So new sector is we are exploring, for which we have conducted number of stakeholders meeting, including Beda Hospital we have, Beda Mall we have. So how these gap can be filled only, for which we have converged the schemes like NULM, EST and P, and the RCT. We are providing some kind of training to them so that we can place these people in another sector. These kind of reforms are there only. The second thing is, they are getting around 7,000 to 15,000 per month. So we have to, there should be some incremental increase in their or in their earnings. So we want to increase from 50,000 to 20,000. So there should be some package for each people that is customized, for which we have trained people. What are we have this characterizes, what are the source of income, what is their level of income, how it can be improved. So different kind of consultants are there. They will go and visit and study what is the presentation, what is the issue, how it can be resolved, and how it can be improved only. The second thing is the chain management. Of course, there are certain enterprises where some kind of service, some kind of products are there. So we will ensure whether this is available to all people, what are the service which is going and what are the products which are put in bought, or whether these are purchased in toto. So we are boarding all the shops here and investors here to collect the product which they produced. So these kinds of chain system is there. Further, we are also bring all the banks, what their schemes, and also integrate with these schemes so that there should be some liquidity or the total investment will be on the higher side, thereby the total income can be on the higher side. These are the 3 to 4 reforms that we want to introduce in this sector, sir.
Okay, I think that's very, very interesting, coming on to these reforms. So as far as your completion of the project is concerned, what is the percentage that you have completed on the smart city, the various projects?
Smart city, sir. Okay. Our smart city project is around 1,150 seats, out of which majority of the works are in smart city roads. It is 550 crore. We are in the last stage. The fourth stage we get into the smart city. That is in 2016, 2017 only, sir. So now we are our achievement is financial achievement is under 37 percentage, and the total project is over 42 projects in the large baskets, and the small buckets it's around 120. We have completed around 42% in total, and partially or in the ongoing it is around 23, and non-starter is 3 projects is non-starter. So by March 2022 we can complete all the project except 1 or 2.
Do you have any suggestions as to how to speed up?
Sir, how to?
Any delays that may be there? Although you say March 2023, I think you meant 2023.
Yeah, yes, sir. Sir, we are in
the
we ended in the smart city mission in the last phase, and in the initial stage where there is certain issues in the administrative sides, and we have some issue during the pandemic, of course there, and the integration of all the departments, there is some issue, and getting the correct this contractors, vendors is another issue. Now all works is in board and it is moving very fastly. There are certain issues in the initial stage, but we can make up it in the after this pandemic. Now we are moving very fast, and we can complete by 2023 March. Extend up to June. Yeah, but we can complete.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I think I got lost in between. There was some network problem. Now let me know. Go to the next city, that is Ujjain. Mr. Anshul Gupta.
Sir, our commissioner sir is somewhere out for the training or some his own engagements.
Okay.
So I am Yogesh. I am here to present our Ujjain city, but
Okay.
I will not be able to talk on the municipal corporations and their issues. But whatever the work done by our Ujjain municipal corporation, our Ujjain smart city, I can present it on the screen. Shall I do that?
Please, please. Very briefly, please present it.
Yeah, sir, briefly. So you can see that this is basically a new school. This smart city is working on. Then there is a the swimming pool, Olympic size swimming pool was built by the Ujjain Smart City, and it's a really good investment in the Ujjain Smart City. Then there is a school, again a smart school developed by Ujjain Smart City. Then there are the biomethane plant, a really good investment done by the Smart City, where the 5 tons of per day, 5 tons of the Sabji Mandi waste is treated in this biomethane plant, and not just a methane. We are also producing electricity out of it, and that electricity used for the official use. This is a Mahakal corridor. This is a Mahakal Transportation Development Authority, a Mrida project. It's a big project by the Ujjain Smart City, where the Mahakal corridor especially for the temple from Rudrasagar to the temple. This is a big project done by the Ujjain Smart City, for which in CITES Ujjain Smart City got an award. Then this is also a Mahakal corridor. This is also a Mahakal corridor. There are many big statues are installed by the Ujjain Smart City in the Mahakal corridor. This is a Mahakal corridor. There is a digital center. The first digital center of Madhya Pradesh was installed by the Ujjain Smart City. Smart classrooms. Then ICCC. This ICCC was used in the during the COVID time. The integrated was used by the Ujjain Smart City for the COVID control. Then there is a Mayur one. There is an area in the Ujjain city where this lot much of peacocks are there. So for them, the Mayur one is developed, like integrating the nature with the development. Then there is a Kal Bhairav temple. In front of the Kal Bhairav temple, some development work is done by the smart city. This is a e-card was started by our collector sir. Then, so these are some of the work done by the Ujjain Smart City. And other than that, now the Ujjain Smart City is also working on developing an hello, sorry, am I audible, sir? So now Ujjain Smart City is also working on the Ujjain Smart City is also working on the integrated approach with the solid waste management, working with the Ujjain Municipal Corporation, where both the solid waste management is ICT based monitoring of solid waste management will be done by the help of Ujjain Smart City.
Okay, I have a couple of questions to you. See, primarily in smart city, we ultimately want all the projects are converged and there is a commonality as far as the interface with the stakeholders is concerned. The way you have presented, now each are quite an independent project by itself. How do you bring about this convergence? So that's the first question. The second question is something which is coming up. See, once you have taken up a project, it is completed. How is the project kept into sustainability level? That is, the maintenance level and the ongoing level of its sustenance. That is very, very important. Can you throw some light on that?
Sir, sustainability is a big challenge, but still, for the sustainability, we will have to. For the sustainability, we will have to first study the project implementation. Before project implementation, we will have to think of the culture of the city, other how the investment will be done, how the revenue can be generated. All these things we will have to study first, and then the implementation should be started. So many of the now there is a new projects done by Ujjain Smart City, that is a Mrida project. Mrida project is culturally connected with Ujjain Mahakal temple. So the Mahakal temple and the Mrida project is culturally connected, and it will the sustainability of project is connected with the culture. So some challenges are still there, but it will be, as it is a culture of the city, it will be in a sustainable mode. I will not be able to answer many of the questions related
to. I understand you are more on the implementation. I think we'll get back to you. So today, as far as the implementation is concerned, percentage-wise, how many projects have been implemented, and by when do you think your implementation will be completed? And as far as whatever has been sanctioned to you.
Sir, I am from the municipal corporation side, so I will not be able to answer which project will be completed on which timeline. I will ask a smart city person to talk on this.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Dr. Sanjay Kolte, I think there are some some issues and some questions which have come up. We would like to have your views. Are you there?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I'll get back to the same question on the sustainability of the projects. Now, that's a point which has been raised by some of the people also. And that is one of my questions also, that once we complete our project and we get out of the project phase, how is the project maintained and improved upon in its life cycle over the next 10-15 years? Because when we get the project grants, it may be there for 4 years or 5 years, but not for the total thing. So how do you feel that some of the projects, and you are at a very mature level, many of your projects have been completed 3 years, 4 years back, and you'll be shortly entering into when their maintenance and support feature times will be getting over. So how do you foresee this future coming up? That's a very, very important thing.
Yes. Sir, in Pune, this maintenance part, running and maintenance after the commissioning of any project has two aspects. As we see in the smart city mission, the mission period is one part, and period post end of the mission is another part. So we can divide it into these two parts. While formulating the smart city mission projects, most of the projects have taken care of the capex phase and the opex phase. And so the capex phase of completion, execution of the project and then launching, that will be the capex phase, and the opex phase, operational phase of 3 to 5 years in most of the major projects has been incorporated in, at least in Pune city. So major projects like smart elements, which is of IoT devices being set up, or the ICCC, which is clubbed with smart elements, or say the other infrastructure projects or various theme-based development or the road redesign. So all these projects have certain period, either the operational phase is incorporated in from the DPR stage itself or in the RFP itself, or a provision has to be made for running and maintenance of the project post commissioning of the project. So the practice which we followed in Pune Smart City is clubbing the operational phase also with the Smart City Mission project at the time of the tendering itself. So that practice we have followed. In major projects we have 5 years of operational period, and others have 3 years or 2 years. So that is this. Then after the end of the mission, the second part remains, and that of course has to be taken care by the urban local body, because at the end of the smart city mission, if the SPV is also non-existent after that period, then obviously these projects will have to be handed over or taken over by the local urban local body. And then the later part they have to taken care of. Of course, the ULBs have their own setup and systems for running the various assets and the projects by the various departments which they have. So this is it. This practice we are following. In terms of infrastructure projects also, like smaller projects like gardens or the theme-based theme parks or whatever we are completing. Minimum 3 years of period of maintenance or the defect liability and maintenance has been incorporated in our projects.
You know, this really brings out a very, very important aspect. In fact, there are 2 or 3 aspects which come out. I think the first thing came out in your initial discussion as to the role and responsibility between the smart city SPV and the UL. So that is an important thing. Okay, you have taken care of it in the planning stage. However, most of the citizen-centric services ultimately is a responsibility of the ULP. And in the type of projects that we have taken in the smart city, many of them are integrated projects. For example, there will be an improvement on the road. At the same time, there is an improvement on water supply and the civic services. the ultimate responsibility of providing these services is with the ULB. So there has to be a process. I think we can only flag it at this stage that there has to be a process for these projects to smoothly be then taken over by the statutory authority. I can just share with you one of the problems which we faced almost 15 years back in Karnataka when the Bhuvi project was very successfully done. After 4 years, the problems happened at the village levels when they said we do not have any money to buy the ribbons for the printer. You know, everything else was okay, but there is no provision in the yearly budget of that particular place that you have to buy ribbons also. You are spending money quite a lot, but that 200 rupees of ribbon cannot be purchased and then the services cannot be given. So that was very, very important. I think some thinking of this type has to be provided when we are conceptualizing these projects for implementation.
Very correct, sir. I would like to add that that is Ministry of Housing and Affairs, has also issued a guideline to the smart cities to make a provision separately by creating a dedicated head for taking care of the running and maintenance after the completion of any project. So that guideline is a clear-cut guideline has also been issued by the ministry.
That is excellent. I have one more suggestion. I think it is an open suggestion more at the ministerial level. There is an excellent, as I understand, an excellent program management system which is there, and it is also measuring quite a few of your outcomes and outputs. I think as you go along, when you move from the project phase to the running phase, what needs to be measured on a continuous basis is the index of some index which have to be developed on the basis of livability, economicability, and sustainability. I think these three with the various parameters, they should be developed, and that should be measured, which should be understood by a common man also. And a common man and the key stakeholders should know what is the level of achievement that his area has been able to reach to. I think that is something which is very, very important. And this will actually bring about this long-term maintenance issues also, which are very, very important. So along with the other metrics, this metric should also come about, be measured somewhere. Mr. Francis, would you like to add anything? Or Mr. Padam Kumar, would you like to add anything? I think we almost come to the end of this session. In case there are any other questions from any other panelist or anybody else? Dr. Gusharan, any other question? There was only one or two which came.
Yeah, that was the only question that came in from the participants. And I think you have anyway extensively covered all the dimensions of smart city as well as municipal governance.
Yes, I would strongly recommend that some indexes brought about, or it is based on the outcome. The livability index is something which is very much important and should come out. I think that is one of the takeaways of this session.
I agree with you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank all the panelists for very actively contributing to this particular session. I think this has been an excellent one. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.